friends, welcome back to my channel. We are here in my kitchen. It is Monday morning and that's when I tend to do my grocery shopping. So I've got back from boys are upstairs asleep and I'm going to do a little tidying in my kitchen here. But this week I wanted to show you around my living room, my kitchen, and my dining room. We moved in about September, and since then we've tried to make this space look like our own little touch on it. I want to walk you through those spaces and kind of show you what we've done so far and tell you what I'm dreaming for each of them. In previous videos you might have seen little bits and pieces here and there. It's been unfinished a little bit, so maybe you're wondering what is going on in that area. So I want to share that with you today. The Christmas season is right around the corner, and so I've been adding little touches here and there of Christmas decor. I've got my kitchen cleaned up for the most part. Laundry's going, dishwasher's going, so I'm going to start my tea kettle, and I'm gonna start at the front door and walk you kind of through the space and tell you what I'm dreaming of and kind of the work we put in so far. And I didn't really tidy up toys, so you will see toys and books laying in their natural habitat around the room. So when you walk in our door, there is a bit of a tiled area here before the pine floors. I am looking for a big sized area rug to go here, and these are just temporary little rugs for now. I've got my humidifier over here because we do have a wood stove, and so we need that humidifier going to keep it not too dry in here. And we added this antique dresser in this spot here, and this antique mirror as well, which was actually my grandpa made this out of an old window from a historic building. So pretty cool and special. This bow keeps falling off my candle. For the holidays, I've decorated this area a little bit with some items I have already had. I don't think I've bought, other than a couple items from the thrift store, I have not bought anything new until I kind of know how I want to decorate our new home. So I just have a little tree, a holiday candle. I got this little candle stand at the thrift store, and I just added a velour or velvet green bow. This little box is part of the willow tree collection with Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus. Some pottery tree ornaments that my friend actually made for us. And then this lamp, I actually have plans to do some DIY stuff with it. Maybe paint the base black or something and add some fabric to the lampshade. And then to make this area a little more practical for guests, we're actually going to use some beadboard, and about halfway up the wall have beadboard along this wall, along this tidbit of wall, and then just a little bit onto this wall here with a piece of trim at the top of it. The mirror will still stay here and it will just run under the mirror. And then about here, I want to have 2 peg hooks, and here 2 peg hooks for guests to hang their coats. And then the paint for this beadboard area and the trim all around our doors and windows in here, as well as the door, are going to be Revere Pewter by Benjamin Moore. So it'll add a little more depth to this space. And then I'm dreaming of some very like farmhouse traditional wallpaper for above the beadboard, just to add a little more interest. But I am a neutral girl, so something more interesting, but still not everywhere that it would kind of be too much for me. We added these all the way to the ceiling curtains. The curtain rod goes all the way across the 3 front windows at the front of our house. These are a linen look-alike curtain in an off-white, sort of creamy beige. And next to the entranceway too, we have a chair to put your shoes on and off if you need it, and a plant and some artwork. I just love this little area. Obviously our windows still need some trim. And like I said, the trim is going to be Revere Pewter by Benjamin Moore, so like a beigey taupey gray. And then I recently, you would have seen in my last video, I bought this bookshelf off of Facebook Marketplace. I do have plans to paint it a different color. I mentioned that I am a neutral girl, but I want to be more bold with color, and so I think I want to paint this bookshelf a color, but I bought it, it was already painted black, so I'm just gonna live with it like this for a while until I kind of know what I want to do color-wise for it. So it holds all of our, my husband and I's books. I keep calling them adult books, but that doesn't sound like what I want it to sound like. And then in here, just some more books, and actually some old tapes and CDs in there. And we have a different spot in our children's playroom for all of their books. And then I just added a clock and plant and some more artwork from the thrift store. Our Christmas tree is living in this corner for the next month or so. And we have French looking doors out to our deck, which we use this door a lot in the summertime, but obviously not right now. So it is just fine to have the Christmas tree in this corner, and we have a little book basket of all of our Christmas books with it. This year I decided to go with just bows and ribbon on the Christmas tree so that my 1.5-year-old doesn't rip off all the glass ornaments. And I was just inspired by bows and different ribbon patterns this year. Our couch I have kind of floating in the living room. I use a line of one of the pine boards on the floor to decide where I keep it, because it does slide around a bit, which is annoying. This is our magazine basket here. Our newspapers. My husband likes to read magazines and newspapers, so that's there. And then another little antique table here that came from my grandpa's house. He collected a lot of antiques, so a lot of the stuff in our living room or in our house is either from my grandpa's, from the thrift store, or from Facebook Marketplace. So this little zone here, I've got these 2 antique chairs off of Marketplace. And then speaking of what I have purchased, this was purchased new recently. I saw 2 chairs like this. Comment below if you know what these chairs are called, because I'm sure they have a name, because I've seen this style everywhere. But anyway, in the little cafe section, they had 2 chairs like this with a table with this hammered kind of metallic gold table in a hourglass drum sort of shape. And I loved it so much. I never would have thought to pair this hammered metal with these chairs, but I loved it. So I tried to look for something just like it. This was kind of the closest thing I got, but I actually really love the marble top with it. I think it really is a nod to the era of the chairs. And these are comfy chairs too, because I find when you have visitors, I'm really trying to set up the space for hosting visitors of all different ages and abilities. And these chairs are comfy, but they're upright. So maybe for like my husband's grandparents or whatever, this might be the place where they choose to sit. And then I had these sconces at our old house on either side of our bed. So I just put one up here, and I really like it. It's just centered above our table here. And then eventually we will fill these picture frames with family photos. Here on this window you can kind of see, well, firstly you can see our kids' sandbox outside, But you can see this is the Revere pewter that we are going to do the trim. This window has the original trim on it. You can see it's just primed right now. And I want to mimic that trim on the windows that are over here, which would be newer as of my husband's childhood over here. So I just kind of want to have a nod to the history of the house by trying to kind of replicate it. It's just a very simple farmhouse. Nothing ornate or crazy going on. And then over here to the left of that is our wood stove. And I would love to, my dream is to do a German smear or something like that over these stones, still having the stones showing, but just with a little bit more of a taupey grout. I love having this wood stove. And my father-in-law made this fence for the children so that we can't get too close and burn ourselves. You can see all of our lovely toys and books hanging out. So our entryway is this area over here, and my husband's guitar is in this perfect little spot right here up high, so the kids can't touch it, but it's on display. And that's our playroom, which is a disaster right now. We have not touched anything in there, but you can kind of see those are the kids' books right there on that built in. And then over here, a spot where I want to put a couch, and it needs to fit just right in that zone. And I want this to be a really relaxed, kind of deep cushioned couch, and then some sort of gallery wall going on up there. This is our staircase up to our bedrooms. And then I would love to have an area rug in this kind of zone here, but that will probably come down the road. And then you can kind of see over here into our kitchen. I should mention too, these walls used to be dark green, and you can see it a little bit right there on where our trim will be. And the ceiling was the same color. So we've done a lot of layers of painting in here at nighttime and nap times in the last couple months. And so then next to our living room is our kitchen. We have a bit of a seating area here with some stools. This is a built-in pantry made to look like a piece of furniture. I love this. Up here is where I actually keep my basket, where we keep our laptop and camera and stuff like that I don't want the kids to touch, but we want to have it easily accessible up here. Was remodeled when my husband was a kid, and you can see on the ceiling here there's a bulkhead. That's where there used to be a wall, and the kitchen was an L shape in here, and so his parents opened it up, which is amazing. And these cabinetry are built by his uncle from wood on our property, cherry wood. There were some uppers on either side of the stove here, and we actually took those out. And the other uppers that are around our fridge here, we painted white. And now I didn't mention in the living room, but the living room wall and the kitchen walls and the dining room walls are all going to be the same, and that is Benjamin Moore's Swiss coffee. The countertops were also made by a friend's business. They're concrete with like a live edge. The backsplash, which I like but wasn't for my kitchen, is this copper, and we took that out. We haven't taken it off of this part here yet, and we've replaced it with beadboard. They also had wallpaper, and I love wallpaper, but it wasn't my color, so the wallpaper was replaced with the beadboard. So anywhere that there's beadboard, there was wallpaper. So we've got it mostly all around here in the kitchen. It is not yet painted, and we have some trim for the ceiling. The ceiling was brown. We've got one coat of white paint, and so we'll need one more coat of paint before that's done. And then we also got our own new appliances, stove and fridge. This area here, as you saw, I'm storing my bread in this basket here. This is where we put our toaster. Our tea kettle and coffee stuff are in here. And then also our cups. We have some seasonal cups here and mugs here. And then those will just be like regular mugs in when it's not Christmas. I love this window because I can see right out to the kids' sandbox. So we do plan to put some open shelving here, things like our dishes. And then above our stove here, we're actually my husband's going to build a box essentially to make like a custom, very simple range hood cover. I'd love to put a piece of art right here. And there is a lot of counter space, which is amazing. Over here I have my grain mill and my sourdough starter, and this is kind of where I do most of my bread making. Still trying to figure out where things go. I don't know if any of you have recently moved, but things I find are just lying around in random places and I don't know where to put them. My countertops especially feel that way. We've got this huge blank wall that I've got some plans for. You'll notice right here, this is actually a shelf that I want to put up here, and I want to be able to hang my apron and maybe a basket and put some plates up on the shelf or something like that. Now down here we have like a sunken dining room. So we're going to replace the sconces in here, and we also need a chandelier above our table. I got this ginormous table off Facebook Marketplace for 200 bucks. I also have one more leaf that could go in here, so I could fit 4 chairs across, 5 chairs with another leaf. So, and then plus you can totally fit 2 here. So we're still looking to collect some chairs and refinish some of these older ones that I also bought off Marketplace. Here's that beadboard that we're going to put in the front entrance. And then the ceiling is a popcorn ceiling, so my husband has an idea to do some sort of wood plank up there. And then this kind of triangle up here was also popcorn and needs to be scraped off, and then we're just going to paint that the same color as the wall. We built this fireplace at our rental where we used to live, and we brought it with us. We made it out of, well, there's shiplap as the front, and then the mantle is actually made out of concrete, solid concrete. It was so heavy to move. And then this is my husband's buck. I never thought I would have a deer head on my wall, but here we are. So I've got our stockings up for Christmas and just a little touch of Christmas decor. I need to come up with a centerpiece for the Christmas season for our table, which is what I got at the thrift store. I'm hoping to make something. I have laid out all of my cookie cutters here because I do not use half of these cookie cutters, so I need to go through them and get rid of them. And then over here, this used to actually be a closet, and now it has this bottom part of the cabinetry used to be the island in the old kitchen before my in-laws renovated it. And now it's like a little buffet. And so this is what it was before to match the cabinet that's in the kitchen. But I chose to just prime the uppers and paint the beadboard that's behind it on the wall the same color as the walls, the Swiss coffee. And then I think I'm going to do these cabinets Revere pewter. And I actually have my sewing supplies stored in here, and the sewing machine's going to go up in there too. I just have to move a shelf. And then china and stuff like that in there. And then these extra storage is just awesome to have. We have like board games in here, tablecloths for beside the table, because this is where you play board games. And then I am feeling like I need something on the walls here. So comment below if you have an idea of what we should do with making these walls just a little bit more interesting. Artwork, family photos. I also have some curtains to put up on this window here. Here is the pattern of the curtains. They're brown and beige and taupe tones, but a big floral pattern. So that's kind of a little more bold to have the big floral print, but in a neutral color. These are the cabinet doors for above my fridge, which have yet to be painted. I would love to have a big big rug in here too. When we moved in, we got the floors in the kitchen, which is oak, and the floors in the living room, which is pine, refinished, restained a new color, sanded, and they look great. Down here is, I don't even know what kind it is, probably oak. And it's got more of those yellow tones, which I can live with, that's fine. But I would love to get a big rug to just kind of tone the yellow down. Well, thanks friends for coming over for a visit while I kind of reset my home a bit and show you around, tell you all about my dreams for decorating this space. It's very exciting and I hope to see you guys back again next week. Let me know in the comments below how you are decorating your home for this Christmas season. Thanks so much.